think is really going on here is that Russia been known Ukraine wanted to join NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which was created specifically to create an alliance to provide protection from the Soviet Union, a conglomerate that Ukraine and Russia were both founding members of in 1922. And Putin feels like if Ukraine joins NATO, that's a direct threat, because then there will no longer be a buffer state between Russia and NATO. And therein lies the problem. NATO is made up of the US, Canada, and 28 European countries. Ukraine is right up against 4 of those European countries. So if one of these bombs goes awry or conflicts spill into NATO territory, we might be in trouble. And Putin specifically said that if any other countries try to interfere with what he's doing, it will lead to consequences you have never seen.
My thing is black people, why are we involved in something that ain't gonna affect us in no way, shape, or form? I can tell you straight up, I ain't never went in the military for patriotism. And I know many brothers, especially in the infantry, we were not in there for patriotic reasons. Some were, but if you have a conversation with them, you will come to the conclusion that they are more thoroughly brainwashed than anybody with a woke or with an enlightened point of view is. Everybody in the military gets brainwashed. You gotta get brainwashed. That's why you go through basic training. They break you down and build you back up. They are reprogramming you to serve their best interests. It's just up to you to gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to inspire and enlighten yourself so that you can utilize it in the real world. But trust and believe. Many of us that went in the military, we ain't going up because we were like,
oh, we love America, we gonna protect America.
Man, that shit was nothing but a job. See, once I started learning how this shit really goes down. Second tour in Iraq, 05, 06, when I became Muslim. I had to go in the office of my company commander, and my company commander looked me dead in the eye and asked me, was I a terrorist? Keep in mind, I had already re-enlisted in the army at that time. My own but because of my religious beliefs, and remember that we had a First Amendment right. Remember, we're supposed to have the First Amendment, freedom of religion, right? Why during wartime is a commanding officer of the military questioning your religious beliefs because they sent you to a country as Muslims and they're just killing off anybody just because? See, this is the propaganda that this Western media corrupts your mind with. The vast majority of Muslims in the Middle East are peaceful people. The vast majority. They don't want no war. They just want to live in peace, just like we want to live in peace. But then you got a certain segment that they're heavily influenced by their traditional cultures, not religion. If you think Islam is evil, then you're going to have to look at every single religion in the history of this world and declare all of them evil. Because all of them have done terrible things. All of them have caused wars. All of them have caused conflicts. World government questioned my own obligation to the military. I said, man, look, I'm a loyal dude. I take my oath seriously. That's like me being on the block with my dog. My dogs could tell you. When I was on the block coming home, I was taking care of the whole hood. I'm talking about, I'm in the club 21, 22, 23. I got my youngest in the club with me. 15, 16. Got my youngest in there with me. And had they back, just like my army dog. My boy Britt City. We just chopped it up the other day. Told him, man, you know, we ain't seen each other in over a decade, but we've been friends for almost 20 years. That's my dog. When we was in them trenches, motherfuckers had each other's back, man. It get no realer than that. See, it wasn't about just the patriotism, it was the brotherly love, man. We stood it up for each other. And that's what we gotta do as black people here in this country, man, for real. So y'all worried about some shit that ain't got nothing to do with us, while here in this country, we got so many problems that we haven't even begun to solve amongst ourselves. How the hell we gonna worry about a war and we got all this division and bickering going on between brothers and sisters? We haven't even began to fix and solve that. But you worried about the Ukraine? I don't give a fuck about no Russia, no China, no Ukraine, no United States government. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But y'all crying and complaining about it. Why? Because y'all are thoroughly brainwashed to believe that this government gives two shits about you. Come on, man. Rich billionaires send poor and impoverished people off the war to kill for their benefit. I wish a motherfucker would say I'm lying. I tell them go Go do the 9 years in the army that I did. Go do the 4 deployments that I did. Then come back.
You know, they leave the black side of this if they decide to come over here with that. Highly unlikely thing is they don't like black folks either. At least not anymore. There was a time when black Americans and Africans were welcomed over there with open arms. Ironically, when it was still the Soviet Union. But now, they're in cahoots with the other whites in the other places of the world, making black people feel like it's dangerous.
My whole thing is, as a race of people, we need to start building commerce with our other people. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Western Africa is more suitable for us right now. You can't make a mass exodus and think we just go automatically be accepted. Marcus Garvey once stated that the mindset of the African in America is so polluted that if he was to go to Africa today, he would take many of those values that he learned as an American back over there to Africa with him, and he would be no good in Africa with that mindset and with that colonialist type of thinking than he would remaining stuck here in America. So we cannot have an American mindset going to Africa, because we will further poison Africa with that mindset. Sometimes you gotta listen to our people, even if we think they the worst of the worst, right? You still gotta listen to them. So I'm listening, you know what I'm saying? And part of being a leader is listening and getting the understanding of what your people are saying and what they're thinking and believing. And then you listen to them. Certain points you agree with, certain points you disagree with, but you are honest and upfront while at the same time being respectful of what they believe in. And then you find a common ground in that regard. So me and this sister, we met, we chopping it up, and you know, she was like, man, you
have no idea how much you helped me in more ways than one.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. If we ain't doing that on a daily basis amongst ourselves, each one teach one, then we're wasting our time trying to do something productive for our people. Every day we got to be on a purpose, and we have to have a mission to carry out that mission. We got to be productive every day. You see what's going on in the world today. We ain't got time to be partying and being lazy and just chilling. Motherfuckers just want everything to go back to normal so we can parlay and party and smoke out and drink out. It's a time and place for that. Right now just ain't the time. The reality is many of us are too far gone. Don't worry about the elders. The elders got to live out their life. Don't worry about these grown motherfuckers that's past 35. They not gonna change. Get to them youngest. Like what my dog Rich City doing with his daughters. I salute you, big homie. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gotta reach. We gotta reach our youngest. The youngest gotta be able to bridge that gap. And it gotta be with adults like ourselves who know what's going on and who can actually make it. Who don't look at marriage as a good thing because of the cost and all that. I get that. But when you got that good solid one that's down for you, that love and respect you, shit, and that person proves that they're a keeper, man, you have to maintain that, man. They truly love each other and they show it, and they don't mind expressing to the world how much they really love each other. That's a beautiful thing, man. And you know why a lot of people really hate on that? Because they really wish deep down inside that they had the same thing that you have. My thing is, don't hate on it. Learn from them and try to incorporate some of what they're doing right into your life so that you may have a better outcome for yourself. These are the examples we must have. See, we got a lot of internal issues amongst ourselves that we have to resolve. We ain't got time to worry about no Ukraine. We ain't got no time to be having these fear-mongering ideas and putting this out there to make other people scared. I came on here, I'm like, look, man, forget that fear-mongering stuff. We got problems, we got issues, let's solve this amongst ourselves. Because we got to get ourselves in order. Listen, we ain't going to agree on everything. You'll be a fool if you think we supposed to agree on everything. Even the white man himself, he don't agree on these liberals and conservatives, they disagree all the time. But when it comes to being patriotic, them motherfuckers will get on board and do what they got to do to crush their enemies. And I don't fault them for that. Because everybody else gonna do it for themselves. So we have to make sure that we're doing something that's constructive for ourselves and our people. And one thing we gotta do, we can't be afraid, man.
Especially to CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, and all of them. let me tell you this, man. Stop coming on our TV network showing us these videos of Vladimir Putin and all of his messages. If you get involved, this would be something in your history that you never record. Hey man, see, this is what the media do. They always want to show a picture of some crazy ass white boy to try to put that fear over the whole world.
Keep in mind, man, you guys chosen people. God's pissed at us because we ain't living right. Only way we gonna make this right is we go back to the Most High, and then we start looking at an apology just ain't gonna work. No, we both gotta acknowledge and recognize we have failed as a whole. We're damaged as a whole. We have made plenty of mistakes as a whole. However, that doesn't mean we live with the trauma forever. All trauma isn't meant to hold on eternally to that pain. It's just like you have an injury. The injury takes time to heal, but eventually it heals. It may not be the same, but it can still be useful and productive for something. And this is the mindset that our people have. We holding on to trauma. We don't want to release it. We don't want to let it go. We want to be comfortable. We want to be content. No. You have to let that pain go. So if you're a black man that had issues with black women, get rid of that shit. Because black men, contrary to popular belief, the real reason why our women are frustrated, because many of us have failed our own women, man. We don't want to admit that. We want to blame everything on the woman. I never do. You'll never hear me come on here and say every black woman I ever dealt with treated me like shit. Because I can honestly look myself in the mirror and say it's something about me that I fucked up on. I always acknowledge what I did wrong, and I always try to fix and correct the things that I messed up on. And black women got to do the same thing. The black man is not your enemy. You'll never hear me say fuck black women. I hate black women. I don't want nothing to do with black women. I ain't gonna do it. Why? Because I've seen far too many great examples of wonderful sisters that be like, all these men ain't shit. My number one question is, there are 20-something million black men in America. Have you met every single one? If your answer is no, which I know it is, then how the hell can you say all? That's like, bro, to be like all these black women ain't nothing. Bro, it's 2 million more black women than us in this country. Have you met all sisters? If your answer is no, which I know it is, how can you make that assumption? You're making broad generalizations that is not true. No, the reality is we're making poor choices in our selection of people we interact with. Once you fully acknowledge that and take the time to understand what you're doing is wrong, then you make the necessary adjustments. This shit ain't hard. We making it hard because we don't want change. That is the biggest problem amongst our people, man. We do not want to accept change. We are content and comfortable with keeping shit the way that it is. I'm here to tell us, man, time don't wait for nothing. Time is going to go on whether you like it or not. We all have to grow and evolve. And that means if you got trauma, man, you better get some healing. Because think about it, if you got kids, it's unfair to your children to hold on to it. Because then that's how that cycle of viciousness continues. We can't afford that as black people. So in conclusion, family, the situation in the Ukraine, get your mind off of it. Unless you ready to go over there and go fight, which I honestly would not suggest you to do. Why are you worried about it here? Stop being fearful of what could happen. Get yourself prepared now. You have military veterans such as myself, who has a vast amount of knowledge and experience, who will not hesitate in teaching, aiding, and assisting our people. The reality is, I'm not coming to look for you. Y'all need to look for us. But one thing I will not do, I won't share none of this training, aid, and assistance online. Because that's our number one problem. We look for clout and attention. When your enemy is conducting his strategy, you will never go online to discuss his strategy with nobody. And once you acknowledge and recognize that, then you will be able to formulate a solution that's going to be productive instead of counterproductive. So I appreciate everybody chiming in. Let's get to work. We got work to do, family. We got to be on our job and purpose every day. Stop worrying about Ukraine and worry about what we all can do collectively to fix and correct the problems we have amongst our people here in this country. Well, love.
So the only thing I want to see from black people, if you're going to post about Ukraine, I only want to see posts about resources on how black people can get out of the Ukraine. In a time where the Ukraine is being oppressed and bombs is being dropped the fuck on them, they got time to oppress black people, melanated people, specifically Africans. And so since they're putting their people first, my loyalty is to my people. So if you got the Ukrainian flag in your bio, take that shit out. If you posted anything that was sympathetic toward the Ukraine, take that shit out.